Listen to me, not next week, not tomorrow, but right now. Some of you are praying for a new life, but you're still thinking with an old mindset. You want different results, but you're defending the same habits. You're asking God for elevation, but you're comfortable with limitation. Let me tell you something today. The greatest prison you will ever sit in is the one built by your own thoughts. And if you can change your mind, you can change your money, you can change your relationships, you can change your confidence, you can change your future. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I didn't come here today to motivate you for a moment. I came to disrupt your thinking. Some of you are stuck, not because you lack talent, not because you lack opportunity, not because you lack resources. You're stuck because you've accepted a mindset that no longer matches your destiny. Your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. If you think small, you live small. If you think fearful, you act fearful. If you think defeated, you surrender before the fight even starts. But the moment you shift your thinking, the moment you declare, I will not think like this anymore, everything begins to change, not overnight, not magically, but intentionally. Today, we are not changing circumstances, we are changing perspective. And when perspective changes, power is released. Your mind is the battlefield. Before anything happens in your life, it happens in your thoughts. Before you step forward, you've already decided whether you can. Before you speak, you've already rehearsed the outcome. Before you try, you've already imagined the failure or the victory. The real fight is not in your bank account. It's not in your family. It's not on your job. The real fight is between your ears. Some of you are fighting enemies that don't even exist. You're battling assumptions. You're wrestling with insecurities. You're arguing with memories. And while you're fighting ghosts in your mind, opportunities are passing you by in reality. The battlefield is internal before it is ever external. Every great achievement in history was won twice. First in the mind, then in the world. Before a person builds a business, they must believe they can. Before someone transforms their body, they must see it differently in their imagination. Before you step into leadership, you must first accept that you are capable of leading. If your mind says, I can't, your body won't. If your mind says, I'm not enough, your effort will shrink to match that belief. You don't fall apart because life is hard. You fall apart because your thoughts convince you that you're weak. You don't quit because the challenge is impossible. You quit because your mind magnifies the obstacle and minimizes your ability. The enemy doesn't have to stop you if he can simply make you doubt yourself. Negative thoughts are subtle. They don't shout, they whisper. What if you fail? What will people think? You've never done this before. And those whispers, repeated daily, become beliefs. And those beliefs become behaviors. And those behaviors become your reality. But here's the powerful truth. The same mind that talks you out of greatness can talk you into it. If you can rehearse failure, you can rehearse success. If you can imagine the worst case scenario, you can imagine breakthrough. If you can overthink problems, you can overthink possibilities. The battlefield doesn't disappear, but you get to choose what side you strengthen. Discipline in your thoughts is more powerful than motivation in your feelings. Motivation comes and goes, but disciplined thinking says, even if I feel afraid, I will think courage. Even if I feel inadequate, I will think growth. Even if I failed yesterday, I will think progress today. When you control your thoughts, you control your reactions. When you control your reactions, you control your direction. And when you control your direction, you control your destiny. The war is not against people. It's not against circumstances. It's not against the economy. The war is against the version of you that believes you cannot rise higher. Win the war in your mind, and no external battle will intimidate you. Lose the war in your mind, and even small challenges will defeat you. Victory begins with a decision to stop believing every negative thought that crosses your mind, a decision to question your doubt, a decision to replace limitation with possibility. The battlefield is your mind, and the moment you decide to fight for better thoughts, You've already started winning. What you feed grows. It's a law of life. Whatever you consistently pour into your mind will expand, strengthen, and eventually control the direction of your life. If you feed fear, fear will grow roots. If you feed doubt, doubt will multiply. If you feed insecurity, insecurity will shape your identity. Your mind is like soil. It does not judge what you plant. It simply grows whatever you water. Some of you are unintentionally feeding the very things you're praying to overcome. You say you want confidence, but you constantly replay your failures. You say you want peace, but you consume negativity all day long. You say you want success, but you surround yourself with voices that normalize mediocrity. And then you wonder why your life reflects confusion instead of clarity. What you watch matters. What you listen to matters. What you repeat to yourself when no one else is around matters even more. Every conversation you entertain, every thought you allow to stay, every environment you remain in, it is feeding something inside of you. The question is not whether you are feeding your mind. The question is, what are you feeding it? Fear grows when it is rehearsed. The more you think about what could go wrong, the more your brain searches for evidence to confirm it. Doubt grows when you constantly compare yourself to others. The more you measure your journey against someone else's highlight reel, the smaller your own progress feels. Negativity grows when you make it your daily diet. Complaints become habits. Cynicism becomes personality, and slowly, without realizing it, you become what you consume. But the same principle works in your favor. Feed faith, and faith becomes stronger than fear. Feed discipline, and discipline becomes stronger than distraction. Feed gratitude, and gratitude becomes stronger than frustration. The mind amplifies what it practices. You don't wake up confident one day by accident. Confidence is grown through repetition of empowering thoughts. You don't suddenly become resilient in crisis. Resilience is built by consistently choosing strength over surrender in small moments. You don't become positive by pretending problems don't exist. You become powerful by choosing not to let negativity dominate your thinking. Imagine your mind as a garden. If you ignore it, weeds will grow automatically. You don't have to plant weeds. They show up on their own. In the same way, negative thoughts don't require effort. They arrive uninvited, but growth, intentional growth, requires attention. It requires pulling out limiting beliefs. It requires planting new perspectives. It requires daily watering of vision, purpose, and possibility. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm behind," that belief will grow until you stop trying. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm learning," that belief will grow until you start progressing. If you constantly say, "Nothing works out for me," your mind will find proof. But if you say, "I will figure this out," your mind will start searching for solutions instead of excuses. Your future is being shaped by your mental diet. Every day, you are either strengthening your best self or reinforcing your limitations. Growth is not random, it is fed. And the life you experience tomorrow will be the result of what you consistently nourish today. So understand this deeply. What you entertain becomes empowered. What you focus on expands. What you feed grows. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It feels safe. It feels predictable. It feels controlled. But what feels safe is often what keeps you small. Comfort convinces you that where you are is good enough, even when something inside you knows you were created for more. It whispers, "Don't risk it." It says, "Stay here." It reminds you of how embarrassing failure would feel and how uncomfortable change might be. Growth never lives inside comfort. Growth lives on the edge of uncertainty. It lives in the stretch. It lives in the moments when your hands shake, but you move forward anyway. Every new level of your life will demand a version of you that feels unfamiliar at first, and unfamiliar feels uncomfortable. You say you want a new life, but you keep choosing familiar patterns. You want success, but you avoid situations where you might look inexperienced. You want confidence, but you run from opportunities that require boldness. You want transformation, but you resist the tension that transformation requires. Comfort is seductive because it protects your ego. If you never try, you never fail. If you never step out, you never get rejected. If you never aim higher, you never fall short. But you also never rise. You never discover your capacity. You never see what you're truly capable of handling. Every breakthrough in your life will begin with discomfort. The first time you speak up, it feels awkward. The first time you set boundaries, it feels unnatural. The first time you take a leap of faith, it feels terrifying. But on the other side of that discomfort is expansion. On the other side is strength you didn't know you had. Comfort keeps you repeating yesterday. Growth pushes you into tomorrow. Think about it. Muscles only grow when they are stretched beyond their current capacity. Minds only expand when they are challenged with new ideas. Skills only sharpen when they are practiced in unfamiliar situations. If it doesn't stretch you, it won't strengthen you. The tragedy is not that people fail. The tragedy is that many never attempt because they're addicted to ease. They choose routine over risk. They choose security over significance. They choose predictability over potential. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is often a sign that something is changing. When you feel resistance, it may mean you are approaching growth. When you feel nervous, it may mean you are stepping into new territory. When you feel stretched, it may mean you are expanding. The life you desire will demand a higher tolerance for discomfort. It will require conversations you've been avoiding, decisions you've been postponing, risks you've been calculating but never taking. Staying comfortable may protect you from temporary pain, but it will also prevent long-term progress. The version of you that achieves more, earns more, leads more, and becomes more cannot be built inside the same comfort zone that kept you stagnant. You must be willing to outgrow environments, habits, and even mindsets that once felt safe. Growth will cost you convenience. It will cost you certainty. It will cost you the illusion of control. But it will give you expansion. If you want a new life, you cannot cling to old comfort. You must be willing to feel uncomfortable long enough to become unstoppable. Speak what you want to see. Your words are not empty sounds drifting into the air. They are seeds. They are declarations. They are reinforcements of what you believe about yourself and your future. Every time you open your mouth, you are either building your world or breaking it down. Some of you are unknowingly prophesying your own limitations. You say things like, I'm just not good at that. I'll probably fail. Nothing ever works out for me. And you say it casually as if it doesn't matter. But your mind is listening, your spirit is listening, and eventually your life begins to align with what you repeatedly declare. Words shape identity. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. If you constantly speak defeat, you will start acting defeated. If you constantly speak lack, you will begin to see scarcity everywhere. If you constantly speak fear, your decisions will reflect hesitation. Your words program your thinking, and your thinking directs your life. You cannot talk negatively about your future and expect a positive outcome. You cannot belittle yourself daily and expect confidence to rise. You cannot declare confusion and expect clarity to suddenly appear. What you speak consistently becomes what you see eventually. This is not about pretending challenges don't exist. It's about choosing not to give them the final word. There is a difference between acknowledging a problem and surrendering to it with your language. You can say, this is hard, without saying, I can't handle it. You can say, I'm learning, instead of, I'm terrible. You can say, I'm growing, instead of, I'm behind. When you change your words, you begin to change your internal dialogue, and your internal dialogue is the script your life follows. Think about how often you repeat certain phrases about yourself. I'm shy. I'm unlucky. I'm not leadership material. The more you repeat it, the more your brain searches for proof to support it. But when you shift and begin to say, I'm becoming more confident, opportunities are opening for me. I'm developing as a leader. Your mind begins to look for evidence in that direction instead. Your words have power because they direct your focus. They highlight either possibility or limitation. They amplify either strength or weakness. There are moments when your feelings will not align with your goals. You may feel afraid, but you must speak courage. You may feel uncertain, but you must speak progress. You may feel unqualified, but you must speak growth. What you declare in difficult seasons determines whether you rise or retreat. You don't have to be loud to be powerful, but you do have to be intentional. Every time you speak about your future, speak with belief. Every time you speak about your journey, speak with ownership. Every time you speak about your potential, speak with expectation. Life responds to alignment. When your thoughts and your words begin to match the future you desire, your actions follow. And when your actions follow, results begin to shift. If you want to see something different, you must start saying something different. Your mouth can either magnify your obstacles or magnify your opportunities. Choose words that build the life you are praying for. Identity determines decisions. You don't consistently act outside of who you believe you are. You may attempt it temporarily. You may try it once or twice, but your long-term behavior will always align with your self-image. The life you live is a reflection of the story you tell yourself about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who quits, you will find an exit when things get hard. If you see yourself as someone who is unlucky, you will interpret setbacks as confirmation. If you see yourself as average, you will avoid extraordinary risks. Your identity silently sets the boundaries of your actions. That's why two people can have the same opportunity and respond completely differently. One steps forward boldly, the other hesitates. One invests in growth, the other retreats into comfort. The difference is not always talent or resources. The difference is identity. One believes, this is who I am becoming. The other believes, this is not for someone like me. You don't get what you want. You get what aligns with who you believe you are. If deep down you believe you are not worthy of success, you will sabotage progress the moment it begins. If you believe you are not deserving of healthy relationships, you will tolerate disrespect. If you believe wealth is for other people, you will unconsciously reject opportunities that could create it. Your identity acts like a thermostat. No matter how high success rises, if your internal identity is set low, you will adjust your behavior to return to what feels familiar. You will downplay achievements. You will procrastinate. You will shrink in rooms where you should expand. Changing your life requires changing your identity first. When you begin to see yourself as disciplined, your decisions reflect discipline. When you see yourself as a leader, you start speaking with ownership. When you see yourself as resilient, you endure pressure differently. The shift does not happen because circumstances change. It happens because perception changes. Identity is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. It is about deciding who you are becoming and allowing your choices to match that vision. If you believe you are someone who prioritizes health, you don't debate whether to exercise. If you believe you are someone who values growth, you don't resist learning. If you believe you are someone who finishes what they start, quitting becomes uncomfortable. The most powerful transformation happens when you stop trying to change habits and start changing how you see yourself. Instead of saying, I'm trying to be consistent, you say, I am becoming consistent. Instead of saying, I'm working on confidence, you say, I am developing into a confident person. The words may sound similar, but the identity behind them is different. One is temporary effort. The other is internal shift. Every decision you make today is casting a vote for the person you believe you are. When you repeatedly choose growth, you reinforce a stronger identity. When you repeatedly choose fear, you reinforce limitation. If you want better decisions, upgrade your identity. See yourself as capable. See yourself as disciplined. See yourself as worthy of the life you desire. When identity shifts, decisions follow naturally. And when decisions change consistently, your entire life begins to transform. Change is a daily discipline. It is not a moment of excitement. It is not a single breakthrough experience. It is not one powerful decision made on a motivated morning. Real transformation is built in the quiet, repetitive choices you make when no one is watching and when you don't feel inspired. Many people want a changed life, but they don't want a changed routine. They want the reward without the repetition. They want the victory without the practice. They want the outcome without the process. But mindset transformation does not happen in a day. It happens daily. You cannot think positively once and expect a lifetime of confidence. You cannot challenge one negative thought and expect all doubt to disappear. You cannot attend one inspiring event and expect permanent clarity. The mind must be trained consistently, just like the body weakens without exercise. Your mindset weakens without discipline. Every morning you wake up, you are stepping back onto the battlefield of your thoughts. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel uncertain. Some days progress will feel obvious. Other days it will feel invisible. Discipline is what carries you through the days when motivation is absent. Daily discipline means choosing better thoughts even when old patterns try to return. It means correcting yourself when you slip into negativity. It means reminding yourself of your vision when distractions pull at your focus. It means practicing gratitude when complaints feel easier. It means acting in alignment with growth even when comfort calls your name. Consistency creates identity. Identity creates stability. Stability creates long-term transformation. Small daily decisions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound into powerful results. One positive thought repeated daily becomes belief. One disciplined action repeated daily becomes habit. One courageous step repeated daily becomes confidence. The problem is that discipline is not glamorous. No one applauds your private effort. No one celebrates your internal victories. No one sees the thoughts you corrected before they turned into self-sabotage. But those unseen moments are where the real change happens. Some days you will have to encourage yourself. Some days you will have to remind yourself why you started. Some days you will feel like you are not progressing fast enough. But discipline says, keep going anyway. Discipline says, even if I don't see results today, I trust the process. Discipline says, I will not let one bad moment define my mindset. Transformation is not about intensity. It is about consistency. It is not about doing something extreme once. It is about doing something intentional repeatedly. When you practice disciplined thinking daily, your responses begin to shift naturally. Challenges no longer shake you the way they used to. Criticism no longer breaks you the way it once did. Fear no longer controls you the way it previously could, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger through repetition. The life you want is built in ordinary days, handled with extraordinary consistency. Change is not an event you attend. It is a discipline you practice. And when you commit to that discipline daily, your mindset will not just improve, it will transform permanently. So hear me clearly, your life will not change when the economy changes. It will not change when people finally understand you. It will not change when circumstances get comfortable. It will change the moment you decide to think differently, when you refuse to rehearse defeat, when you discipline your thoughts, when you speak life over yourself, when you outgrow your comfort, when your identity rises to match your destiny. That is when chains break. That is when doors open. That is when mountains move. Change your mindset and you won't recognize your own life. Now rise and think like it.